The developers at From Software have outdone themselves with the world of Elden Ring. The Lands Between, as the world is called, is filled with many activities and areas for the player to get immersed into. Not only that, but exploring all these areas not only provides great boss fights, but also powerful loot, making the venture rewarding. Therefore, today we'll be exploring some of the best hidden areas in Elden Ring. Useful item for secret areas. Before we embark on our journey of finding all the mysterious and secret areas in Elden Ring, there's an item that we should consider acquiring as it can help us. The item in question is the Stone Sword Keys. These keys are in the shape of a stone sword and are used to break seals on special statues known as imp statues. What are imp statues, you may ask? Well, imp statues, as the name suggests, are stone statues shaped like a mischievous imp sitting on a pedestal. These statues have a seal on them that holds up a fogged wall, often blocking off a secret dungeon or room in an area. Therefore, if you want to access some of these secret areas, you need to be able to break the imp statue seals, which are only done through the Stone Sword Keys. The Stone Sword Keys do seem useful, but how can you acquire them? Well, lucky for you, they're not too hard to come by. There are over 25 Stone Sword Keys in the game. You can either purchase them from merchants or get them by simply exploring the unforgiving lands of Elden Ring. Needless to say, you'll need a fair amount, as these keys are for one-time use only, meaning if you want to access another area blocked by an imp seal, you'll need yet another key. Up first, Fringefolk Hero's Grave. Fringefolk Hero's Grave is actually a location that you get a slight sneak peek of at the start of the game. As you leave the tutorial cave, you'll be able to see a fogged wall blocking a secret area to your right. In this situation, you'll most likely not have the resources to break the imp statue seal, which is holding up the fog barrier, nor the equipment needed to challenge what lies ahead. Therefore, it's recommended that you come to this area later, when you're perhaps at a higher level. Regardless, once you break the imp statue seal, you'll be able to head inside the Fringefolk Hero's Grave, which is a massive yet confusing dungeon. You'll be initially greeted to a poison pool, which will be followed by chariots of death trying to crush you. As you maneuver past them, hiding between pillars, you'll be able to gather lots of loot from the dungeon. Some of the major loot found inside is the Erdtree's Favor Talisman, which is considered as one of the best talisman in the game. Additionally, you'll be able to challenge the Ulcerated Tree Spirit for a boss fight. Defeating the boss will grant you a golden seed that can be used to upgrade your sacred flasks. Therefore, the Fringefolk Hero's Grave is a great secret area that you didn't know was in front of you all along. Next, Mohgwyn Palace. Sticking to the theme of areas that are related to the starting area of the game, Mohgwyn Palace is a well-hidden underground location that requires you to go back to the starting location of the game. You can head there by finding the white-faced Vare, the very first NPC you meet. However, there are other ways of reaching Mohgwyn Palace. These include traveling through a portal at the inner consecrated snowfield. But be warned that the Mohgwyn Palace is a complicated area to get to, and that too for a good reason. The enemies that can be found there are relatively harder than the already soul-crushing enemies in Elden Ring. From rotten strays to giant crows, each corner will have an enemy lurking to catch you off guard. But of course, the harder the enemies, the more the runes that they drop. So if you're looking to get some extra currency to spend on buying new gear or leveling up your stats, Mohgwyn Palace is a great hidden place to go to. Not only that, but there's also a demigod secret boss that can be found in Mohgwyn Palace. The boss is known as Mohg, Lord of Blood. Quite a terrifying name. This place offers players exciting new enemies and challenges to face, and you should definitely try to explore it all. Moving on to Nokron, Eternal City. The Eternal City is undoubtedly one of the more intriguing areas of the Elden Ring, with tall ruined buildings and unforgiving depths that you can easily fall into. Nokron, Eternal City is a sight to behold. However, this truly is one of those secret locations, as there are certain tests you must do before the entrance of the area can even appear. That's right, you can completely miss this area by simply not even activating the entrance in the first place. To get the entrance to appear, you must defeat Starscourge Radahn at Redmane Castle. Sounds simple, right? You might think it's just another one of the many bosses of Elden Ring. Well, unfortunately for you, Radahn is considered one of the toughest bosses of not just Elden Ring, but of the entire Soulsborne franchise. But when you do somehow manage to beat Radahn, perhaps using a cheese method, then a point star will fall from the sky, creating the entrance. Now that's what we call a dramatic entrance. Nokron, Eternal City neighbors the Siofra River and offers players with many challenging bosses and of course plenty of useful items. The next phase of the Ranni questline can also be found here, and you can also get one of the most useful summons, the Mimic Summon, from within the Eternal City. Therefore, Nokron is one of those secret areas that you'll have to visit. Then we have the Murkwater Cave. Murkwater is yet another one of those secret areas that one can easily miss. Not because it's hard to get to or requires certain tasks to unlock, but one simply does not venture out to where it is unless they're aiming to do something specific. But if you're hoping to discover one of Elden Ring's Easter eggs, then you may want to visit the Murkwater Cave. Found in a narrow path in Agheel Lake, the Murkwater Cave's entrance can be found on the left after you beat an invader NPC. Be careful as you enter the cave, as there are alarm bells placed, which can trigger many enemies to swarm and attack you from all sides. But as you make your way inside an open area in the cave, you'll be able to spot a treasure chest. As you approach it, you'll get surprise attacked by none other than Patches. Patches is a longtime character of the Soulsborne series. He has appeared throughout most of the games in the franchise, except Sekiro. Although he is not a trusty ally, as he is known to be deceiving, he is still a fan favorite. You'll have to engage in a short-lived fight with Patches, but after just 2 to 3 strikes, he'll surrender and ask you to spare him. If you do so, you'll be able to trade with him and later see him in a certain quest. It's quite interesting to see that From Software has not forgotten many of their old-time characters and spent the time to add this Easter egg of an NPC. Next, Church of Dragon Communion. This is a hidden area that you don't want to miss, mostly due to the perks granted by accessing this area. However, it's one of those areas that require you to beat certain bosses first. One of these bosses is the flying dragon Agheel. After you beat it, you'll be awarded a dragon heart. If you return this to the NPC Bloody Finger Hunter Yura, you will be guided towards the Church of Dragon Communion. You'll be guided towards the bottom left end of the map, where there is the coastal cave. Inside, the dual boss demi-human chiefs awaits you. After you beat them, you can actually go deeper into the cave, which will lead to an exit. As you move out and behind the exit, you'll be able to see the ruins of a church in the distance. Go closer to it and you'll be able to find a ruined stone structure of a dragon, with its head laying next to a stone shrine-like goblet. You can perform the ritual of Dragon Communion at the shrine, which will grant you one of the 3 special items in exchange for the dragon heart. These items include powers like fire breathing or dragon claws, making them worth the journey. Finally, Lake of Rot. Lake of Rot is yet another sight to behold, with its bright red, burning, unsettling atmosphere. Deep underground, the Lake of Rot can be found by taking a lift deeper into the depths of Noxtella City. Although it might be an interesting sight, the Lake of Rot itself is a death trap that you definitely do not want to dip your toes into. But once you explore this area, you'll be able to discover one of the biggest and trippiest bosses of Elden Ring, Astel, Natural Born of the Void. The fight is interesting, and the design for the boss in itself is worth the adventure. That's a wrap for this video. What other hidden areas are your favorites? Let us know in the comments below. Make sure to give this video a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos like this. See you in the next one.